Welcome to Self-Critic Reviews, and today Self-Critic is gonna review Stranger Things Season 3. And honestly, I've seen Stranger Things than Season 3. But before starting my review, a bit of brief spoiler-free recap on what I thought about the show's previous installments. I consider Stranger Things franchise highly overrated, but at the same time it's not terrible enough not to watch. And the show has its own qualities that are worth seeing. More so than the superhero shows which are popular, but which I will generally not even give a chance to. Every time there is a conversation about Stranger Things, I always say that if this show was released when I was a kid, like 6-7 years old, I would be its biggest fan. Because as far as children's television goes, the material is high quality, well thought out and well filmed. So what's up with Season 3? Spoilers ahead.
These are Self-Critic reviews on television and news. If this ain't your favorite artist, well, you're not getting amused. This is Self-Critic reviews.
Is this gonna get different clothes? Open if it's on YouTube, yet he is getting no use.
If you want some unbiased opinions, an analytic mind is worth billions. Yet he has been hiding his brilliance underneath this stifling diffidence. And if you don't like his opinions, go look for like-minded civilians to whine in the comment section and slap a dislike on his videos.
Season 3 is about as standard as this show can get. There were many bolder directions the series could have taken, but they chose a safe route. Season 2 had shown some of the most interesting potential ever for the Stranger Things universe when they introduced kids similar to Eleven, kids with supernatural abilities. Joining their storyline together with the current characters is difficult, but it would have made the plot significantly more interesting. And it would have developed Eleven as a character even further. What happened instead is a complete standstill. They had the same villain as last season, and essentially the plot is also to stop it from wreaking havoc and killing Eleven. Nothing new here. Just like in previous seasons, all main characters, and sometimes even side characters, got separated into several groups, and each of the groups had their own storylines, and at the end all of their paths crossed, and it turned out that they were inadvertently working towards the same goal. And just for the record, this is one of the elements that I like about Stranger Things. These reunions are usually well executed and the storylines intertwine seamlessly and enjoyably. But the way these stories work is they have an arbitrary set of rules that can literally be written into anything you want them to. And that has been my primary concern about this series. Like for example, the Mind Flayer. He can do anything convenient, like turn into some kind of sludge, turn into a monster, insert itself into a person, and depending on the plot armor, control him or fail to control him. L is powerful and then not powerful, depending on whatever's convenient. And basically, the boundaries and constraints are not 100% clear, at least not to me. And this gives the show the power and leeway to do whatever it wants. On one hand, imagination abounds and creativity is tested. On the other hand, it's not as fun when things can be easily forced into anything you want them to. Mike and Eleven, the way they broke up is beyond any stupidity. The laziness in the writing doesn't have any limits. I mean, if Hopper threatens you not to go near a person you love, you don't just obey him and lie to that person about the reason why you cannot see them. You tell them, this is what Hopper told me, blah blah blah, we need to work this out, etc, etc, talk to Hopper. It's common sense. You did not do anything wrong, you didn't cheat, you didn't choose to hang out with a bro instead of her. You wanted the same thing as she did, yet you couldn't say the easiest thing in the world. Yeah, I don't buy it. What did this serve? This just served to break them up and break one group, Mike, Lucas, Eleven, Max and Will, into two, only to reunite them shortly afterwards. Dustin's storyline with Robin, Steve and Erica was probably the most fun to watch, in spite of their slight butchering of the Russian language. For instance, the phrase that they translated as tread lightly, it literally says if one is careful in Russian. Если быть осторожным.
Поездка в Китай звучит неплохо, если быть осторожным.
You can translate tread lightly into if one is careful, because it's technically true, but you cannot do the reverse. The thing is that tread lightly is an idiom very specific to the English language, and translating it literally into Russian would not make much sense. which is why the other translation was chosen. However, when Robin cracked the code and she said "быть осторожным" to mean tread lightly, and they showed a shoe store or a shoe or whatever,
If you tread lightly, if you tread lightly, if you tread, if you tread lightly.
"быть осторожным" has nothing to do with shoes or walking, because it's translated into "if one is careful." The same exact thing can be said when she used the tread lightly phrase on a Russian.
Быть осторожным. Быть осторожным.
Вы кто такие?
This is complete nonsense. Makes absolutely no sense. She's not even using the phrase imperatively. She's saying it in an infinitive. In spite of all that, the subplot was fun. And I liked Hopper's subplot with Alexei. That was cool. Hopper and Joyce beating the mayor up was dumb. Even though the guy deserved it, and the series even presents it in a way that Hopper is right, it makes no sense in legal terms. Hopper and Joyce should go straight to jail for assaulting the mayor. I mean, come on, get serious. Overall, I was really disappointed with Eleven's character. She had such an amazing character development last season, and this season she just stood still. I mean, her speech skills improved a little bit, and the way the show is handling this part of her personality trait is impressive, as is the actress's acting. But other than that, her character isn't going anywhere when she has to, because she is the only worthwhile character in the show, because the rest of the cast is pretty generic. The emotional scenes leaning towards romance, one way or another. Most of them were awkward, each for different reasons. I didn't take notes on any of them, but from my memory, Joyce Hopper thing when Murray Bauman shouted the truth to their faces was not funny or enjoyable. His small with Alexei right after was kinda amusing though. I also like that this season gave some backstory and depth to Billy's character via a flashback that Eleven saw. And for some reason, retelling this flashback to Billy magically gave him strength to save Elle from the Mind Flayer. You know, classic Stranger Things. This season did not mention Upside Down even once, which was highly suspicious. I would think that's where Hopper is now, if my understanding is correct. In any case, this season was okay to below average. Slightly fun, but disappointing that another huge potential was wasted. And it doesn't seem like the series is ever going to address the brief season 2 brilliance and expand on the world. Oh well, the final scenes imply that we'll just get another Mind Flayer season next year. Great. Thanks for watching.